We're going to we're going to get started shortly, so we're just allowing a couple more people to join. Thank you.
And I tell you what, Khadijah, if there's no one that would like to give a testimony, I tell you what, I got a testimony and I keep a testimony in my mouth and in my belly as it relates to more mito. And if I could just start with my first testimony, it would be concerning my eyesight. You know, you all, I've been wearing glasses now for at least over the last 13 years. I didn't even know that I needed glasses until I started seeing Vidocs that wasn't actually there. And my husband was like, "What Vidoc are you talking about? It's not a Vidoc." And I said, "It got to be a Vidoc because I see it." Well, long story short, the moral of the story was is that I needed glasses. Well, here lately, within the last 4 months, since I've been on the more Mito product, what I am realizing is that I've been leaving home and forgetting my glasses. So here I am thinking, oh my God, I'm forgetting my glasses. It must be something wrong with me that I'm forgetting things. And so I had to kind of do a self check. Have you all ever, kind of did a self check? And as I was doing a self check, I was trying to think of other things that I was forgetting. And it was nothing else that I was forgetting except for my glasses. And then I started to wonder, like, well, wait a minute, Vera. Is it, wait a minute. Yeah, this is Mr. Hill. Hold on.
Yesterday, they were on sale 10 for $10 each. Charles said he could not believe it.
But what's the big ooey about them? Why do you want so many? Why do you want them at all? What do they
We
do?
thought, hey, let's grab this because there may be somebody who needs one. Uh,
Well, as Vera is on the other line with Mr. Hill, I'd like to personally give my testimony. Of course, with me, when I first got started in Mormito, it was because of the fact that I was involved in a
Well,
truck accident. And inside of my trucking accident in my previous life, I drove 18-wheeler trucks. And yes, I'm a woman, and yes, I drove 18-wheelers. And so with me, I was driving my 18-wheeler truck, minding my own business, and I was T-boned. And my truck ended up flipping over. So I went to the hospital. They told me, oh no, Khadijah, there's nothing broken. But I felt like every bone in my body was broken. Luckily for me, there was nothing broken, but I was in severe pain. With that being said, of course, when you go to the hospital emergency room and you're in pain from an accident or a trucking accident severe as mine, they give us what I had was some muscle relaxers, Tylenol with codeine and everything. And for about 12 hours, I was popping my Tylenol codeines, I was popping my muscle relaxers, and nothing relieved my pain. I was in severe pain. 12 hours later on that night, my husband was like, Khadijah, oh my God, you didn't almost went through this whole entire bottle. You're about to overdose and check up out of here. So I refuse to allow you to take any more medication. Well, even though I have almost taken a whole bottle of Tylenol with codeine in it and with muscle relaxers, I was still in pain. Well, we had this wonderful gentleman named Reggie here in Atlanta. He came by at midnight, dropped me off some Rejuvenate cream. I had no knowledge of what this was, but when he dropped it off, I would like to know. My husband rubbed it on the bottom of my feet, and within 2 minutes before this brother was out of my subdivision, I was out of pain. Now I told you guys, I was inside of a trucking accident in which my truck flipped over, and I'm talking about an 18-wheeler truck. And I had been taking muscle relaxers all day for 12 hours, and I was taking Tylenol with codeine all day with for 12 hours, and none of that relieved my pain. But mysteriously, I got this cream, and I had no knowledge of what was going on, but that took me out of pain in less than 2 minutes. When that happened, my husband previously was like, "No, Khadija, you're not bringing in any more supplements over here. We not a nutraceutical. We ain't no supplement, no herbal pharmacy. You have enough stuff inside of the house that we could actually do a rummage sale or a pharmacy sale and be millionaires by now." So previously he was like, "You are not buying anything else." Well, when this Mormito Rejuvenate got me out of pain in less than 2 minutes, he said, "Babe, I think you need to order that product." What's that? I thought that was mysterious. But for me, with that being said, I thought that was amazing. It was so wonderful. And I had to figure out what is this product that just got me out of pain in 2 minutes, and none of the pills and stuff like that that I have been taking was ever even working for me. And what that was mysteriously, Rejuvenate actually built my mitochondria. And when it did that, it went inside of my body and my body began to repair itself. And so that's my testimony. I know that they had told me that I had spinal damage and that I was going to need to have surgery. I was adamant that nobody was going to operate on my back. My neck, my disc and my neck was actually damaged. They said I was going to need spinal surgery on my back and also on my neck. I was adamant that that was not going to be my fate. That was not going to happen to me. These people were not going to operate on me. And all I did was take my Restore, take my Rejuvenate, and it has been a year later, and I have not been in pain, nor have I had surgery. And that's my testimony. With that
All
being
right. And you know what I was going to say, Khadija? That testimony alone is an amazing testimonial. And you know what? We do got Mr. Roger Hill on, but before we bring him up, I'm just going to go ahead and give the testimonial that I was given before I had to, jump off. And that's the testimonial as far as my eyesight is concerned. As I was saying earlier, first of all, let's thank everybody that's on the call. Thank you all for tuning in. And right now, what we're doing is kind of giving testimonials as it relates to the Mormito product. And I just want to give a brief one. As I was saying earlier, I've been on wearing glasses for the last 10 years. And what I've noticed over the last 4 or 5 months that I've been taking the product is that I have been leaving home and forgetting to bring my glasses with me. So again, I had to do a self-evaluation, a self-check, and start thinking, Vera, it's something going on with you, girl. You forgetting your glasses. Something is wrong. But then I realized, well, Vera, the only thing that you're forgetting is your glasses. You're remembering everything else. So is it possible that you're forgetting your glasses because you're not needing them? And lo and behold, that's exactly what it is. I'm driving. I'm seeing a whole lot better and clearer now that I'm taking the Mormito product. And so me leaving my glasses is not me forgetting things. It's just me simply not needing them like I've always needed them before. And one quick testimonial as it relates to the Mormito product is that, I was using the product with my husband because you could use the cream. We have the Rejuvenate. You could use the cream as well as take the product. And so, I kind of was trying some things with my husband. I've been married now for over 23 years. So we're real grown. And, I decided that, you know what, babe, we're going to use this Mormito product and we're going to put it in some special places, right? And so what was happening is that as my husband was using the product and as we were putting it on his special place, I realized that we were acting like we were 25-year-olds. And my husband just was like a Duracell battery. He just kept going and going and going. So long story short, here lately, I had to take the product and hide it from him because we couldn't get any work done. And with that being said, for those people that kind of understand what I'm saying or maybe overstand what I'm saying, you could use the Rejuvenate, which is one of our products from Mormito. You could use that on just about anywhere. And again, we're not making any medical claims. We're just simply telling our story. But we do have Mr. Roger Hill with us today, who's the founder and CEO of More Mito. And Mr. Hill, if you can hear me okay, sir, and if you can come in, now would be a perfect time for us to hear from you.
Okay, so I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I hear you well. Thank you.
All right. What would you like for me to address?
Well, you know what? If we could, because Khadijah normally does the presentations and everybody is here because her presentations are normally out of the park. But if we could just have you kind of give us a brief presentation on More Mito, what made you, give us some of the specifics as to what the products or some of the testimonials that you have heard, and then be open to answer any questions that anyone have.
Okay. The thing I'd like to try to help everybody understand is this is a new approach to health and wellness. You know, everybody else, all of us have probably used different products over time that have helped us in some way or another. But this approach that Dr. Elliott's come up with is about restoring your mitochondria so your body can restore you. And there are a lot of folks, you see that word more and more, mitochondria. You know, some people know how to spell it, few know how to pronounce it. But we actually have the technology to make it work and can change the trajectory of your, of your whole health. Now, you start out in life with a lot of mitochondria when you're a kid. That's why you got all that energy. You barely know what to do with it. But later in life, you start losing them to the extent that by the time you're 80 or 90, you're going to be down to about 5 or 10%. Now, what's happening along the way as that's going on? You're not seeing as well, right? You get about, late 40s, early 50s like that, you start understanding, you're not a spring chicken anymore, right? I mean, that warranty that came with youth where you just kind of bounce back with everything, that's all worn off now. You start to recognize some different things happening. Like, once again, not seeing as well, not having that same strength and stamina that you had when you were younger, or not being able to remember things and being as mentally sharp. Okay, same thing about all your systems, like the blood pressure, the blood sugar, your weight, all those things become more difficult to maintain. And as Khadijah was talking about her accident, the older you get, the harder it is for you to bounce back from injury and illnesses. Well, what we've been learning since we started doing this together, 2015, I guess, when I first met Bevan, over the course of that time leading up to when we started More Mito and formally in 2021, is that if we really do grow back your mitochondria, you know it, because it changes so many things so drastically. Why is that? Because they're concentrated in your major organs, in your liver, your kidney, then your lungs, all those places. Highest concentration in your heart, brains, and eyes. So if I would play devil's advocate for myself, I say this: if I'm not full of it and anything I'm saying is true, then we should be able to point to situations pertaining to those organs where we've dramatically changed people's health just by restoring mitochondria. And we got a lot of, if you've not been on our calls, I just share some that just leap out at me. On the product page there, you got Bishop McCall. Bishop McCall lives here in the DC area where I do. He lives on the Virginia side. I live on the Maryland side. Anyway, he was going blind. He was born blind because he was diabetic. Diabetes, you got extra blood sugar roaming around in your system, it's damaging everything. It's a matter of what's going to fail first. In his case, it was his eyes, and he got to the place where he had to give up driving because he couldn't get where he was going. He was talking about one time going around a beltway here and not being able to read the signs, and he kept going around trying to figure out where he should get off. After that, he gave up driving. Anyway, he gets on our technology. He calls back and says, I don't think this stuff is working. In fact, the more I take it, the more it seems like my vision's just getting worse. Okay. And then he said, how people with glasses sometimes will look over their glasses, right? He said he did that one day, and he noticed he was seeing better without the glass than it would if he had glasses on. So that let him know that his eyes had changed so fast that the glasses no longer fit, the prescription and whatnot no longer fit what his eyes were actually, how his eyes were actually performing. So that's why he couldn't see as well. Well, that correlates, right? Eyes got more mitochondria, the cones and rods in your eyes that help you see colors and all that. They got more mitochondria than anything. when we turn up that mitochondria like that, that's what can happen. We can repair eyes. He was taking shots in his eye. He already had a laser treatment in his eyes. He goes back to the doctor and asks to tell the doctor, she's saying you need to complete the rest of these treatments. He said, I don't want to do any of that. You just test me and you tell me what you see. She goes and does the test, looks at it and says, I don't see any signs of diabetes in your eyes anyplace. I mean, I see where we did these operations and whatnot. Apparently it left like scar tissue. But his eyes look perfect other than what the damage was done by those operations they gave him. So that's the reality of how this works. We got two products. We got the Restore and well, we have two. Well, I guess we got three now. So it's the same two. We got Restore and the new Brain and Body, Renew Brain and Body for your inside. We've got the Rejuvenate for your outside. So let me just talk about how they fit together. We did Restore because we wanted to do more cellular repair. If we're going to make you healthy, it's got to be from the cells up. And originally we had water soluble ingredients. Devin said, we're going to do a good job of the cellular repair. I had challenged him and everybody else that we got to make better stuff. There was still too many people I thought we weren't affecting. So, okay, we're going to go heavy on cellular repair, but he had to get, lipids or, oil soluble products or ingredients rather to do this with. And we already had the olive oil. We had the black seed oil, add the 44 ingredients, come up with a new XDS process, the latest version it's in your product that you're taking right now, and put that out. Lo and behold, we're starting to get all these mental, physical, emotional things, including the vision story that I just told you. So the way Restore is set up, you've got a set of ingredients in there that are mitochondrial generators. They overlap, they may do other things too, but the primary reason in there is let's grow back that mitochondria. Let's talk to the mitochondria, tell them to grow. Okay. So that's what they do. And there's another set of that 44 subset. They're in there for specifically supporting various organ systems. There's specific ingredients for your eyes, there's specific ingredients for your gut, so on. Okay. So we got all that stuff in there to give you all this organ support. So you'll have people come on and maybe they got blood pressure issues, perhaps and kidney failure, heart failure at the same time. And people get on it and all that stuff, their bodies are able to reverse. So that's the inside out with Restore. You've got the outside in with Rejuvenate, topical gel, put it on your skin. Highly recommend it for anything that affects your hair, your scalp, or your skin in an unwanted way. If there's something on your skin you don't want there, put the Rejuvenate on it. Doesn't stop with your skin though; it penetrates deep. It goes all the way to penetrate tendons, ligaments, muscles, and joints. If you got mobility issues, if you're aching and hurting, that's going to be your go-to product. Now let me talk about the new product, Renew Brain and Body. So Renew Brain and Body is us bringing back the original, products that we had along with our first generation oil. And what it's doing is this a combined formula this time. Originally, it was two products. One was Perform, the other was mine. This combined formula kind of sits on top of what you're already getting on with Restore and Rejuvenate, particularly Restore. So let me be more clear. So we bringing back these water-soluble ingredients means that we have a completely different set of ingredients turning up your mitochondria, and it's doing it from a different perspective. Because in some instances, we're using the same ingredients that you have in Restore, but these are just the water-soluble version of it. For example, everybody on here is familiar probably with resveratrol. Okay, resveratrol, very powerful antioxidant, great for a lot of stuff, your heart, your eyes, so forth. Energy generation, all that's real positive. Okay. But there's an oil soluble version of that called Terra Steel Bean. You'll find it on the list of ingredients for Restore. Now, but we couldn't put the resveratrol in there, but we have it in the Brain and Body, for example. So that's bringing that back. So we get a completely different set of effects. we knew from the start that this was going to be really powerful, because back in 2019, when we were just about to come out with Restore, we were running out of Mind and Perform, the two original capsule products we had. But we had a bottle or two left, so he and I were able to try it at the same time we were dealing with the new having the new Restore, and the results are just mind blowing. And so we knew what everybody else was in store for when we brought back the the original Brain and Body, the original Mind and Perform in the form of Brain and Body. All we did was basically change the name, and he rebalanced the formulation. I think it might be more powerful, although it's harder to tell just because we're all benefiting from the Restore we're already taking. This kind of sits on top of it. So if you want to take your mental and physical performance, take those brain ingredients for Restore, from Brain and Body on top of what's already in Restore, the additional ways that we're generating mitochondrial energy, you are in for a treat. The other thing is, there are some people obviously who may be allergic to an ingredient or so. There's no way to rule that out. Or, you just don't want to take oils. You don't like the taste, or, your mama made you take cod liver oil when you were growing up or something. You swear you never take oil again, whatever the case may be. If for whatever reason you can't take Restore, then by all means, go with the Brain and Body. So I'm really happy with that. The people that we might not have been able to address before we got something to deal with. And I think this is a good time. If Khadija hasn't already told her story about what happened when she first took the new product, this might be a good time.
Sure. Thank you so much for that, Roger. You're an amazing CEO. And no, I have not given anybody my testimonial on Renew. Mr. Hill came to Atlanta about 2 weeks ago, and I guess we were the guinea pigs on the Renew. So when he came out and announced that he had a new product, because we are doing so well on the Restore and the Rejuvenate, I had to try this product. Now, for people who know me, you guys automatically know that, hey, this is my natural. I am a bubbly, energetic person individually, happy-go-lucky, right? I'm normally floating on cloud nine. So I know Mr. Hill told the story about our beloved Dr. Elliott, and he said that, hey, when Dr. Elliott took the Renew, he took the full dose, and he thought that he was more smarter than everybody else on the planet. Well, because I am naturally bubbly and I have a God-given high, I said, you know what? Instead of taking the full 4 dose pills, I decided to take one. Now, I want to remind you that if you do not have the Renew, they're little microscopic pills. They're not big at all. They're actually smaller than a regular size that you would normally get. Anyway, when I actually took the Renew, I don't have eye issues. So therefore, I'm walking around. I took the Renew, and it's nice, bright, sunny day outside. And it seemed as if somebody turned the lights on. It got extremely brighter than what it already was. There was no cloud in the sky. It was natural, nice and bright. And then I took the Renew, and it was like, pow, the lights just came on, and I was just floating, and I was just this happy-go-lucky, and I was floating. I tell you, I was already on my Atlantis carpet, but it seemed as if I just floated higher and higher. And I said, wow, if this is what's happening with just one pill, I cannot take 2, definitely not 4, because y'all won't have me on Tuesdays and Thursdays. I will just float away.
That was amazing. Didn't you say something about your sinuses changed too?
Exactly. I forgot about that because I normally do not have any sinus problems. But as soon as I took that one pill of the Renew, my sinuses started draining. And I was like, wow. So with us, we just naturally walk around and not knowing that we might have some underlying issues that we just don't know that it's there. And so therefore we're not dealing with those issues because we don't even know. A lot of times people deal with issues when they're just far gone or it actually shows up. But I had no knowledge that I had any sinus issues. But when I took this Renew, my nose started running and my sinuses started draining. And I was like, oh my God. And I was able to smell better. And because of the fact, I was like, wow, if that's what's happening on just one pill, how was life before?
Hmm. So I call that the mito effect. You know, you take this stuff and you can see what that change is or feel what that change is like right away. Now, part of the brain and body formulation increases circulation in your brain. And I think that might have also affected the sinuses in your case. But that's, I think, also why those people who were early on when they had parents who were at dementia or were trending into Alzheimer's, it really helped them. And so we're really sad to see that product run out, but at the time, but we're glad we have it. We have it back now. So that's our deal. You know, we got 2 for the inside, 1 for the outside, but they all act like over a dozen products. You know, you'd have to, you know, go get 1 for your eyes, go get 1 for your respiratory system. You see what I'm saying? So you end up with a much more compact way of approaching this, not having to keep track of all this if you're someone trying to recommend it to someone else or have to stock a whole lot of things. So it's like way more efficient. Okay, so let me pause right here. I can talk about anything you'd like me to. If you want to go Q&A, either one of you can let me know what I should address next.
Yes, thank you guys so much for that. And thank you, Mr. Hill. What I wanted to say too, I know a lot of people, I have a question. I know a lot of people are dealing with eye issues, right? And we know that with the depletion of mitochondria, one of the things that because mitochondria is so heavy inside of our eyes, that's like one of the number one things in which. So now we have absolutely 2 products. We have the Restore, in which we have testimonials on people taking the Restore and they're able to get their vision back. But now with me, when I took the actual Renew the Brain and Body, it was like the light bulb came on and my eyes was able to see brighter. So what, in your humble opinion, with both of the products together for people who is having eye problems and unable to see, do you think that that combination would be a great product for them?
Yeah, that the bundles that we have that have brain and body in them and whatnot, obviously I think it's pretty great. Just because it's turning up mitochondria even more and really amping up the support for brain. And of course your eyes grow out of your brain, right? So it's gonna help, that too. But if we go to the rest of your body, everything should get better just because of the additional mitochondrial support, not just the brain. That's why we're saying brain and body. I'm noticing that, and I take a lot of Restore now. I triple dose every day. I'm like, this morning I took 2 teaspoons of Restore, first thing. And, my empty stomach, other little supplements that I take. Then mid-morning I took the first brain and body. Then I had the third teaspoon actually, of Restore around lunchtime. I didn't eat the 2 o'clock. I only eat 1 meal a day. I intermittent fast every day. And then I came back with the brain and body at maybe like 3:30, 4 o'clock, something like that. So I'm just noticing that it's the mental performance picks up of noticeably more, and it was already high. And the sustained stamina aspect in terms of being able to keep thinking and doing stuff. I mean, you get tired, you still, the one thing it doesn't replace is sleep. You're still gonna need to get some sleep. You may find yourself sleeping even better. So just figure it out that way. If you'd like to experience another level for any reason, maybe because you have a particularly challenging situation you'd like to accelerate your progress on, or you just want to be like Bradley Cooper in that movie Unlimited, right? Because that's what people were doing. Some people were doing with the original version. They were like triple dose the capsules, and they said they felt like they were like unlimited. You will get a better effect like that because you have like that smooth sustain. This is what we noticed going to the restored oil side. It wasn't that you had a higher peak. What you had was smoother, longer energy. It just felt smoother. Okay.
Mhm.
Now you got that smoothness along with a higher peak energy, both of them together. So again, I think that people who needed to accelerate their progress and resolving some issues are definitely going to benefit. Or if you just wanted the maximum performance out of your brain and your body and your immune system and all of that, and you go for all of it.
Wonderful, wonderful. Okay, we have people on here that will actually like to ask questions.
Sure.
Would you prefer them to put it in the chat or unmute themselves and ask the question?
So, either way.
Okay, great. If anybody happens to have a question for our beloved CEO, raise your hand and we'll get to you so that you can ask your question. Another thing is I know that I've had a couple of people who asked questions who was calling me and they happened to ask questions about one of the things that I wanted to tell you is that I have been inundated lately with people who happen to have, I guess they're happen to have what we call long haulers because
Yeah.
they're experiencing because of the virus that is out here, they've been
Mm,
experiencing after they had the virus that they've been experiencing hearing loss, and
mm,
they also been experiencing prolonged depletion of eyesight and the
mm.
loss of taste. How or do we have anybody that happens to have testimonials in the back in which that they have had experienced a long journey with the virus that's out?
Well, I certainly have some, and I think we have most of the early ones we had with COVID were people that took it while they were experiencing COVID, and they never became long haulers because they took our stuff, at the time. Greg O'Loughlin had it up in Philadelphia. There were several people up in Philadelphia I know that we recorded doing that, but we've had other people that were long haulers that took it that it benefited, and you would think that it would, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
when you get a virus, it's hijacking your mitochondria. It wants to crank out 1 million copies of itself inside of even one of your cells and go and, infect the next cell. But even after you get rid of the virus, you're still stuck with all that damage, and you have less mitochondria to repair it with. So the reason that you're lingering there is that your immune system has a harder time getting going because it doesn't have much to get going with. You know, if you you know if you think about the process of fighting off any new thing, that's another thing. Part of the reason you're a long hauler is that things that your immune system might have swatted aside will slow you down, have you not feeling as well, because your killer cells can't hunt. They can't hunt. They can't take out those other viruses and stuff. I mean, this is reminiscent of how people with HIV are, because it's taking out their killer cells. And so things that would never have bothered them before, that's why they get these odd pneumonias and things they would never get. It's not those things are present all the time. It's just that they were being suppressed by the immune system, but the immune system is not strong enough to do it again. So without question, you want to get on our stuff, certainly the restore, certainly the rejuvenate, if any issues that you can address, in a local way, with that. And probably the brain and body is going to help even more just because, again, it's going to give you maximum mitochondrial performance. So that's what I say to that.
Thank you so much. Jess, you can unmute yourself. I see you have a question. Jess, are you
And Khadijah,
Yes.
it looks like they were asking about hearing loss, not due to the long virus. Is that what Jess was asking? So just regular hearing loss?
Yeah, yeah. Let me speak to
Yes.
hearing loss.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. I'm driving, so I apologize for the very noise here. But I was talking to a friend of mine about this today, and she says, "Well, I'm interested in hearing loss." She
Okay.
had something happen that was, I want to say, it was physical, like in a front to the ears, like maybe a noise that was too loud, and she hasn't been able to hear properly since then. So
Okay.
she said, I'm interested in putting some my hearing and help me with that.
We have had a number of people experience significantly better hearing once on our technology. I'll tell you a few of the stories. We had a lady down in Houston, Baytown. It's like south of Houston, and she wore a hearing aid. She had breast cancer, and a part of the treatment that she had damaged her hearing. So now she's wearing hearing aids. And she started noticing that when she was charging the hearing aids at night, she could hear things that she couldn't hear before once she took them out. Now she's hearing new stuff. She also noticed that when she had the hearings on during the day and she was wearing them, she was hearing things then that she couldn't hear with the hearing aids in. So it took her hearing to another level. I'm seeing if I can think of another one. There's several that reported something similar to that. And with respect to COVID, let me pick this up too. Changing your sense of smell. That was something I know it's Khadija, you mentioned when you were talking about how your sense of smell picked up. Okay, well,
Yes.
so all these are all your olfactory systems. All these systems get better in the presence of this additional energy that your mitochondria is producing. Now that you're growing more of them, and by the way, it's obviously not waiting to grow because some of these changes, like you were hearing her talk about, take place so quickly. How long did it take you to see the world brighten up when you took that capsule?
I would say about 5 minutes.
Okay, see what I'm saying? So you can't grow mitochondria in 5 minutes. What it's doing is communicating with all your cells at once, like radio waves, and then boom, they're responding. So if you got hearing issues, sense of smell issues, all those things are common to COVID long haulers, and just people who've had their hearing damage. Well, here's what comes to mind. Imani Lumumba up in Philadelphia, she had an ear infection. She lost, like 70% of her hearing in one of her ears. And then she gets on our stuff. And the vertigo that she had as a result of that, because she would get up every morning with a fear of falling. Each morning she started out with the vertigo and a loss of balance. That's another issue that you can have if you've had damaged ears or hearing mechanisms. And all that went away. So I would encourage anybody who is concerned about their hearing, needs to recover their hearing, to give this technology a try.
Okay. Thank you so much for that. Anybody else who has a question? I remember, I guess earlier today, I had a call with Nyla. I don't know if she's on the Zoom now, but Nyla had an issue with detached retina.
Mm. So several people have come to us with detached retinas, and the retinas reattached. It just repaired it. This is a problem if you had an accident, or if you're a boxer or something, when you getting hitting the head or hitting the eye, and it's been dramatic that they get on this stuff. They give you these operations and things to try to correct it that can actually make it worse. In some cases, very risky, and they take our stuff and just your body fixes it. So definitely give it a try. If you're concerned about a detached retina, it may be your best hope, much better than taking an operation that may or may not work.
And I want to pop in real fast. I want to pop in real fast as I got a text message that came in, and although this is a women in leadership call, we got some amazing men on the call that's listening in, and they want to go more into ED and how does using the product help with that? I gave a testimonial briefly today as well as last week concerning, how it has helped my husband, who, let me just be clear, never had a problem in that area. We just noticed a enhancement from him taking the product and how it, kept him going. So can you kind of speak on that some?
Yeah, so one of the things you have to do to do all this repair from the cells up that we're trying to do is enhance the circulation. And, that's one of the things that's really necessary for those that are ED concerned. The other aspect about it is it's really great for your mind, okay? And I think, again, that the new brain and body increasing circulation and all that in your brain even more, may play an additional role in that as well. So we've had people, report that once we got one more product to do in our mitochondrial suite, and then we may focus on that to actually come out with a product for it. But in the meantime, just a general renovation that your body does with this, mitochondrial approach, I think you might be really pleased with the results.
All right. So again, I know we got quite a few people that were on and that had questions. I don't want everybody to go MIA all at one time. So again, you all, if you don't mind unmuting yourself, and if you have questions, now is a good time. We got the CEO, Mr. Roger Hill, on the call, and this is a good time to pick his brain. So again, go ahead, unmute yourselves. If you have any questions, now is a good time to do so. And I see someone asking about weight loss. Okay. So before, Roger, if you don't mind talking about weight loss and how does it work with weight loss? And I got another text message coming in. We're talking about hair as well. So weight and then hair, if you don't mind sharing.
Yep, no problem. So weight loss was a pleasant surprise because we're not specifically addressing weight loss. It's just a part of let's call it the mitochondrial response package. You got an interview right on the People product page. Lady out of Dallas May Crosby loses 77 pounds over the course of a few months. And you hear me ask her, was she doing anything or taking anything additional that might account for that? And she said no. What she noticed was that she had fewer cravings for sweets and stuff. Okay. Now, so once we turn up this mitochondria, first of all, you now have a greater capacity to burn calories, right? So that's one thing. The other thing is those cravings going away. That's huge, right? Because that's how we end up overeating. We're craving stuff. We just keep eating it. Now, the oil in particular is going to reshape your gut biome. That's your bacteria in your gut. And there's actually a conversation going on between the bacteria in your gut and your brain via your vagus nerve that connects the two. And though literally that bacteria in your gut is planting thoughts in your mind, telling you to give it some more of that junk you're eating that's causing those cravings. Okay? That is literally the way that works. So by reshaping your gut biome and some other things that are clearly happening in your brain that we get reports from people that we don't understand the mechanism for. All we know is it happens, that this emotional intelligence and whatnot, you having more discretion over your actions is part of you to get triggered, for you to be provoked, for you to, not, manage how you respond in stressful situations or challenging situations. Those things can drive you to eat, right? So being able to help you manage those better clearly gives you an advantage. And the other thing is like your desire to do positive things. I just started doing a lot of these interviews where people say, I took this stuff. One lady said, I took this stuff and I just started cleaning up my house. Okay, she'd been putting it off. The stuff you need to do, you just kind of get to doing it. She cleans up her house, then she goes outside cleaning up the yard. So I get that similar comment about exercising. So you take this stuff and you'll feel more like you feel more like doing stuff in general, but exercising in particular. Now you got the energy to go take a walk or go to the gym or whatever the case may be, but be more active and not just be a couch potato. So I think that's what it is. One of the ladies, Shalom, Missouri, she's from Missouri, was talking about the fact that she had lost weight before, but she still had this like unsightly little pooch. It was like, just I guess a blob of fat that wouldn't go away even if she lost weight. If you have that and you get on our stuff, you may find that goes away, particularly if you're rejuvenated at the same time that you're taking, our stuff internally. So getting your figure back, getting rid of unwanted blobs of whatever, including tumors. Okay. You can lose some weight like that too. And let's not underestimate unloading your colon. Many people, if not most, are in some degree constipated. So there you got some extra weight there you can get rid of. Many of you heard that story that Dr. Goodman, Dr. Goodman / Dr. AKA Dr. Joey was telling us about how she's clogging her toilet, thinking something wrong with the toilet. It was just literally crap that was coming out of hers. So you have that, all those kinds of ways that your weight might be affected.
Wonderful. Someone had asked a question about hair loss.
Okay. This is just a pleasant surprise. I think the first time we noticed it was in our prior company. We had the original oils, and I was in Wisconsin with an IT guy, and we were gonna go fishing. It was like a lake right behind his house. Anyway, he has these two little dachshund hounds, and one of them named Maddie, he was saying, was struggling to go up steps, and he couldn't jump up. She couldn't jump up on the bed anymore, and the dog was gray haired. So some months later, I'm back out there with him, and Maddie's coat had turned black. So I'm saying, okay, so this stuff can kind of affect, your hair. So then fast forward to the Restore era since 2019, summer 2019. And we're getting these reports. I just played one maybe 4 weeks ago where lady had a brain operation some years before. And part of her hair didn't grow back. She had a bald spot that she would have to wear a wig every day to cover up. And she got recruited because the person that recruited her had heard some of those hair stories and told her about it and asked her to try it. And lo and behold, her hair started growing back. And her husband's is like bald head. He's putting it on there. Now I tried it on mine, but I like my bald head, so I stopped putting it on there. Okay, but it definitely does work.
Wonderful, wonderful. And then Miss Jess has asked a question about blindness due to steroids.
I'm not familiar with that particular way to go blind, but we have had people blind get their sight back. So if I'm blind for any reason, then I'm wanting to try this stuff. My really good friend, Terrence Simmons, we worked together at the Pentagon. That's how I got to the DC area. They called me up at NASA and asked me how I'd like to come work at Pentagon. Anyway, he went blind after we both left and went, further our careers elsewhere. And he started taking that stuff. And that's even our first generation, which is our first generation oil in the version of brain and body you're taking now. He got his sight back. So, you benefit from the fact that eyes have all this, I'll call it mitochondrial infrastructure, right? They know they're supposed to have a lot of mitochondria. And so you benefit from that, and you benefit the fact that obviously we're stimulating mitochondria. So that can account for a lot of repair. These shots that people are taking in their eyes and all those laser things that they used to be, taking that drug Eylea, which doesn't repair your eyes. It just blocks your body's ability to grow blood vessels into the eye, which is corrupting it. But what it's trying to do is get oxygen and blood flow in there so it can do the repair. So it's just a mess, and they're talking about, what is it? Wet AMD, or is it dry AMD? Now, that's all nonsense to me. Take the stuff, let your eye fix it, and live happily ever after.
Wonderful. Miss Michelle, you have a question. You can unmute yourself and ask your question now?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, we can.
Will it help someone with chronic kidney disease?
All day, every day. It was this past weekend, either Saturday or Monday. I played one from a guy in Oklahoma. He had he was in dialysis actually, and he had a heart valve replacement, and he was in dialysis. Anyway, absolutely improved it. We had another lady, she had heart failure and kidney failure at the same time. She was stage 4 kidney failure. She wasn't in dialysis yet, but we doubled her kidney function in a matter of weeks and got her out of that. Another lady, and go ahead.
No, I'm listening to you.
Okay. Another lady in Dallas, the name will come to me in a minute, gets on our stuff. And she was in that state where there were, once you get down to high stage 3, your numbers in the high teens. When you get to 15, you're supposed to already be in dialysis. So when you get in the high teens, they want you to come in and get measured up to put the port in your arm. So they're getting you ready for the dialysis. And
yeah, that's where I'm at, and I refuse. I'm like, I will go home first, y'all. Not doing that.
Okay, so you will want to do what she did, which is get on our stuff, and we double her kidney function in a short period of time. You can find that interview, by the way, on the homepage. It should be on the product page rather. If you don't see it there underneath Bevan's picture, look in the Restore PDF, which you can get to from where it says product details. But let me tell you the rest of the story, just so you understand. She gets on the stuff, avoids going in dialysis, and decided she wanted to stop taking the product. Now let's understand what happened when you stop taking this stuff. Well, let me understand what happened, why you needed to take it. Those signals that were telling your mitochondria to grow, and which keeps everything else in alignment, right? All your stem cells and your telomeres, all that anti-aging stuff you hear people talk about, and you wonder if there's really anything to it. Keeping that stuff working is mitochondrially dependent. So you stop taking it, those signals that were being sent to tell your body to make more mitochondria stop. So what happens? Everything starts reversing, starts going back the other way. So I check in with her some months later, like the next year, and she had gotten off of it, and she tells me the story about how the people had to come and take her to the hospital, and she ends up on dialysis. And she knew why she solved that problem the last time. Anyway, she gets on our stuff and comes back out of dialysis, and now she's fine. So get on it.
Wow, thank you. Okay, thank you.
Don't let it go any further, but let's address the underlying condition. I'll give you more than you asked for. Do you have high blood pressure?
I do.
Okay.
And diabetes.
Yeah, those are the root causes. So
okay.
This stuff is going to help you address that. But the other piece is that, stay on the Dr. Dan call, follow the protocols for that we know now that everyone needs. Sort your meals the right way. Eat the salads, proteins and healthy fats like avocado and whatever else you want to use that's a healthy fat. Eat those first, and if you're going to have any carbohydrates, have them last. That will help prevent blood sugar spikes, which are
okay. I went to a vegan diet. I love avocados, but I don't eat them as much because my potassium had elevated.
All right, well, sort that out. The main thing is don't be eating those carbohydrates first, because you're giving it. But Dr. Dan will tell you that it's sugar in 20 minutes. So you got to put that other stuff in front of it, sort of slow it down and give your body more time to cope with it.
Okay, thank you.
All righty.
Thank
And
you.
who is Dr. Dan, y'all? Somebody got to let me know who he is and how to get on his call.
No
Dr.
problem.
Dan, he's a PhD nutritionist. That he does our nutritional counseling, on Saturdays, an hour before. You can sign up for that.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I'll get with you after the call, Michelle, to make sure you have all that information. Thank you so much, Roger. And there is someone in the chat is asking about uterine fibroids. And
So I'm just going to recommend that you try it. I don't have a uterine fibroid story, but I believe that it would respond, because I'm just noticing that we tend to, if you notice this, you never have them when you're a teenager, right? Or warts or moles or all this other stuff that comes on your skin. I think it's because of failing cellular replication. And now the DNA has been damaged, so now you're getting, or you're either you're getting damaged DNA or DNA that should be turned off, turned on, that's causing this. I saw an extreme example of that even on the first generation of this technology, when we only had Rejuvenate in the capsule. We didn't have Restore yet. Lady I meet in Dallas, she had like 2 tones to her face. I'm thinking it's like a birthmark, because I've seen some people that were born that way. It wasn't necessarily alopecia. That can, cause different tones to your face. 2 weeks later, I get a call from her. She said that she was washing her face and some dark stuff was coming off on her cloth, and she knew her face wasn't that dirty. So she gets in the mirror to see what it's all about, and there was that dark skin coming off. And so I said, well, how did it get that way to start with? She said she had got a sunburn about the time that her youngest daughter was born. So I said, how old is your youngest daughter? I'm thinking that her youngest daughter was small. She said, my youngest daughter is 28. So for 28 years, her skin was replicating those dark, damaged cells. And when she got on our stuff, fresh, new skin was pushing her dark skin off and getting her complexion back like it was supposed to be. So if it'll do that, and if it will suppress tumors and things like that you hear from other people, I certainly would give it a try on my fibroids if I were someone concerned about it.
yes, someone asked about stroke recovery.
Yeah, so we've had a lot of good success with that, just because there's so many people who had strokes because they had high blood pressure / diabetes, right? I'm thinking about one lady, I can't think of her name. She had a stroke, damaged her brain, and it was like she had dementia. She said places she would just normally go to take 15 minutes might take her an hour, because she was constantly getting lost and trying to find her way back and all of that. And she got on our stuff and, just straighten that out. I would say this is similar to COVID, where COVID's done all this damage, and now you need the cellular energy to repair that, and that's kind of what our technology brings.
Wonderful. Angela have a question. You can unmute yourself and ask Mr. Roger Hill your question.
And while she's unmuting, Roger, how much more of your time do we have so we can be mindful of that?
About 10 minutes.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, great. Since he has 10 minutes, Angela, and then Chief Kamala.
Thank you for asking me that.
Greetings.
Yeah, go ahead, Angela.
Is it possible? Well, you only have 10 minutes, so never mind. I was going to ask if I could do a testimonial and then question. I have been on the actual Restore and the Renew for 2 weeks, ever since I actually came to see you when you were here in Atlanta. And ever since I have been on this, my voice is different, and I have been coughing at night up a storm, like crazy. Would that be like a detox symptom, or What would your take be on that?
Pretty much just about what have to be. So there's two things that can happen. You can have a detox, or if it's something you're allergic to. This is sounding like your body is trying to get rid of something. Are you coughing up stuff, or you just coughing?
I am coughing up mucus.
Okay, there you go. Okay. You were holding on to that, and now your body has the energy to get rid of it.
Okay.
So go with it.
I'm going with it.
All right. The body knows what it's doing.
Yeah. Angela, Roger, you needs to hear Angela's testimony. Everybody needs to hear Angela's
tell us
testimony.
that, please. So tell me what your health concerns were, Angela, before you met us. Allow me to understand where you started.
Okay, well, I started because my husband decided that he wanted to be a landscape technician. So I went out to assist him one day, and we were supposed to have been planting 18 small pine trees, but they ended up being 8 feet pine trees up and down a steep hill. So I ended up tearing a ligament in my right knee. And me being a part of homeopathy, I work for a homeopathic company and things of that nature. I went the homeopathic route, taking their tinctures and things of that nature. And then I tried to go back to the old school, and I put the red clay dirt and all of that on my knee with vinegar, and the swelling did go down tremendously. I did not go through any surgeries of anything of that nature that they was telling me to do, because I know that my body can heal itself. So my sister had given my brother some of her Rejuvenate, and he did not take it. So I decided to start putting it on myself, on my knee, the front and the back. And do you know, within a week's time, my knee that was the size of a freaking football went down to the point where I was walking upstairs without even thinking about it.
Oh, that is marvelous. So within a week's time, it went down. So what happens is that when you get a trauma like that, it causes inflammation where your body is bringing resources in that area to try to repair it, but it can linger and become somewhat chronic. And what our technology is doing is giving your body the option to manage that inflammation better. Now you can get, ingredients in and out, blood flow in and out, along with our stuff to, to affect the repair. So if it's a soft tissue damage, if it's something that can be repaired, that is the way to do it.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that testimonial. Chief Kamala, you're up.
Greetings. I just wanted to share really quickly about the event of my eye exam last month. I went to the optometrist, and I have a new doctor that I've had for now about 3 years, but I have been going to this particular eye institute. It's also in a teaching hospital. And for years, they would always bring students in to look into my left eye because I was left eye blind since birth. Well, I'm going to move forward quickly. And that is after taking the Rejuvenate, rubbing the Rejuvenate on my face and eyelids and taking the Restore product. Now, I've been taking it consistently for about 7 or 8 months, but because it's an annual eye exam, I don't know exactly how quickly it began to change because I've never had vision in my left eye. I had that eye exam, and she held things up, had me cover my right eye with a little spoon, and I was able to identify the images on a placard. I've never been able to do that before, ever. So when I did the first one and I said what it was, and she said, right, I jumped. And I took the thing off my eye because I had to see. And she did more, and I got 4 out of 5 or 5 out of 6. I only missed one. But the point was, she didn't seem particularly impressed. I was on top of the world. So she scheduled an appointment for me to see a specialist. And the students, what I'm sure, are going to be coming back in. She said it for October 1st, which was like 90 days from my appointment. And even though she didn't seem to be particularly impressed, I didn't even tell her about the product yet. Because I didn't really trust that she was being truthful. She told me at the last visit, I asked her about my numbers. She gave me them and it was getting better. I said, "Oh, it's getting better." She says, "Well, your vision gets better as you get older." Yeah, right. We know better than that. So she didn't seem to be that impressed. So I can't wait until October 1st because I'm continuing to use it. And today I received my the brain and body product.
Mm-hmm.
And I just started it today. As a matter of fact, since we've been on the phone, I had a dose early this morning and then one just as we were on the phone. I figured one in the morning, one in the evening. So I just wanted to share that for someone that it may help. I was congenitally blind in my left eye since birth. So we're talking over 55 years that I have not had vision in my left eye, and now I'm gaining it. All right. That's what I wanted to share. And then someone asked a question about an open head injury, closed head injury. If you could elaborate on that, please.
Repeat, a closed head injury?
Yes.
What does that mean?
Like a traumatic brain injury, a TBI, something like that? A
Yeah.
closed head injury?
Traumatic brain injury.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the best examples is Mike Grant that Reggie introduced to us, who was a boxer. He had 6 or 7 concussions and things, as well as any number of those veterans who have been in war zones. Like we got a number of them, Handy Randy Nation here in DC. And apparently, when you get a brain trauma like that, for lack of a better term, it can scramble your brain. So it's like there's nothing wrong with you, like your brain can't perform. It's just it is stuck. I remember you used to some electrons get hung up and you would bang it and it would start working.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, apparently when you take our stuff and it restores the mitochondria, it helps your body repair. Your body can repair that because Mike Grant, he had cognition issues, slurring of the speech. You all remember Muhammad Ali late in life, how he got, anyway, as he took that, he got his balance back. His brain was sharper almost immediately, all of that. So if you had a traumatic brain injury, boy, you need this stuff because the therapies out there to deal with it seem to be rather inadequate. So that's what I can tell you about that.
Right. And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Roger, I don't know because we said 10 minutes and we went well over. Michelle.
Okay. All right, Wade. Thanks for inviting me. I think you all are an awesome team. This is an awesome group, and it's my pleasure to work with you.
Thank you so much for your time.
All righty. See you next time.
Good evening.
Okay.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good evening.
All right. How can we get a copy of the recording?
Yes, the recording will be available tomorrow. So you can get with the person who actually invited you on the Zoom, and they'll be able to get you a copy of the recording for tomorrow. And thank you guys so much for joining us. And we absolutely thank our beloved Mr. Roger Hill. We have a fantastic CEO. And if anybody happens to have any questions or need anything, I'm certain everyone should have my number. If not, I'm available to answer any questions that you may or may not have, or get back with the person who introduced you to the call, and we'll take care of your questions and things. And thank you guys so much for joining us, and good night.